chukua hii siku, enjoy my mercies, enjoy my blessings, enjoy the grace given to us through Jesus. Karibu sana tusemezane hapa kwenye nuru ya asubuhi. Today is Family and Health Thursday, and today's discussion, I talked to you, I mentioned earlier on about the speech made by, the advisor in the office of the First Lady. He read that speech saying, I'm urging Kenyans, urging the legislators, urging families, and urging individuals to make sure we are taking care of the elderly. And so that will be our discussion of today. How do we get to do that? Because the elderly are with us. You have your grandma, your grandpa, with you. Hata kama si, like immediate, you have someone who is either at a neighbor, unapata yuko hapo. So how do we get to live with them? How do we get to support them? How do we get to help them? That will be our discussion today. Feel free to join in the conversation via Facebook, YouTube, Mizpah TV Kenya, and also kwenye SMS line. The number is on your screen. Today, we are so honored to have a life coach with us today. He is a pastor and also he is a life coach. That is a teacher, Trizzah Simon. He is back. Let me use that word. He is back. We've been having him for a very, very long time, and he has been a blessing to us and also to you. And that's my hope and prayer today, that pia leo ataweza kukubariki na pia utaweza kujua 1, 2, 3. Let's get into it. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Hey.
I can't complain.
You can't complain.
Kwanza leo ni siku yetu.
Leo ni ile siku.
Happy Teachers Day.
Hi,
to all the teachers.
Happy Teachers Day to you.
Yes, leo ni siku yetu.
Awesome.
And
so,
awesome.
Karibu sana Mizpah TV.
Asante.
We are honored to have you.
It's nice to be back.
Oh yes, it is very nice. Today's discussion is quite unique. Tumekuwa tukicomplain sana kuhusu this issue. Unapata tu, maybe unaweza pata, unatembea tu unapata an elderly person, unashangaa, we familia huyu wako wapi? Ama tu with the nation at large, yani hawezi weka policies and all that. So they would like to talk about that today, and we want to cover it in almost 5 areas: individually, family, society, as a nation as well, and also generally. What can we do? Karibu.
Asante sana. And it's nice to talk about our old people.
Yes.
Because young people never think they will get old. Lakini kama mtu wa kamera anaweza zoom, unaweza ona hata sasa mimi nimeanza kujoin hiyo class ya wazee. Hivi zimeanza. So, and I think one of the things that we need to be alive to is that age is not a choice. It's a rule of life.
Okay.
It will come to pass that one day you get old. That is number one. Number two is that age is a blessing. It is quite disturbing to lose someone when they are young. And it's a blessing to have people age. And when the Bible talks about Abraham, and the Bible says that God told him he will die at a ripe old age.
Yes.
And so we need to look at the aged not as burdens but as blessings.
Okay. So ndio shida yetu. Tunaona burdens.
Yes.
Okay.
When we start looking at them like inconveniences, like burdens, and it's a very unfortunate point of view that the people who spent their most energetic days taking care of you now look to you like a burden. And it's a very unfortunate situation. But we find ourselves there.
Yeah, true.
Or once in a while, or maybe more now than can be said. Yes.
Okay. And so we start individually. If you're living with an elderly person, najua kuna hiyo difference in age, kuelewana and all of that. So individually, how can I be of help to this elderly person?
Now, if you want us to start off there, maybe I would want to say one or two things. If you're in charge of an elderly couple or an elderly person as what we would call a primary caregiver.
Yeah.
Because by the time people get, apparently according to the UN, the government, and the Bible too, when it speaks about windows, we look at the elderly from around age 60.
Yes.
The government starts giving stipends at around age 70. Yet we have people who are living. My own father is 85 now. My grandmother, we don't even know how old she is. But the girl is over 100.
The girl.
So, if you are the primary caregiver, if there is something that you will need, it's a lot of grace and a lot of patience. They usually say, or it is said, that when people grow old, they again become babies. You get to a place where they might not be able to do stuff for themselves. They might not like the way you do things. And sometimes they get angry very quickly. And for some, really can get unreasonable.
That is true.
So as you're living with them, you will need a lot of grace. But bottom line is to identify their needs. Identify what they really need for comfort and their well-being, and provide for that. If you would be able to do that, the other things can be taken care of. So if you are the primary caregiver, you need to be very informed.
Informed on?
On issues concerning the elderly. Right from their emotional health, their mental health, and their physical health, of course. So if someone is sick, you need to know when, how to administer the medication, how to check their day-to-day vitals. Are they okay? Is anything off? Then, of course, the whole regimen of their health, including their feeding. It is important to know that as they age, there are certain foods they cannot take. That's number two. It is important to be alive to their mental health. Because at one point or the other, whether it is going to be, and I would want to really look at issues like forgetfulness. I don't want to use those big medical names. Forgetfulness. As they age, they might start forgetting. And I think the Kikuyus have a saying for it, that you are going around like an old woman who has lost her keys. So those who know Kikuyu will know what I'm saying. So they tend to start forgetting. And that happens very oftenly. But then it has levels also. It can either be mild or it can be extreme. Extreme is where now they will forget everything, including you. That is true. Yet they are still functional. Okay? So you need to be very alive to their mental health status. Then there is their emotional health. Are they stressed? Is something making them angry, sad? Because you must discover a parent will always be a parent. Even if, like now my dad is 80. 2-3 days without calling, he will always call and ask, are you guys okay? So you might think that what is happening to their children and their grandchildren is not affecting them, but it is. So you must stay alive to those facts. Look at their mood swings and changes and try to figure out what is it that is disturbing them and what can be done. So as the primary caregiver, this is something you cannot run away from. It is something you must be given to with the whole of yourself. Because I think one of the biggest problems we have with primary caregivers is when now they start abusing the elderly. And abuse does not have to be extreme like what we saw on TV the other day. Abuse sometimes is as simple as not giving them food in time, not giving medication in time, okay? Not cleaning up where they are staying. And you see, the elderly might very easily become bitter because of basic things that they were able to do for themselves that now they cannot.
They're like, ningejifanyia hii, by the way, ningekuwa na nguvu.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they are wondering, why is it that you are finding it so difficult? And it's something they used to do. And I would advise that at individual levels, if you are the individual who is the primary caregiver, whether you are a son, a daughter, a grandson, a granddaughter, a daughter-in-law, all an employee, ensure you are taking care of them. Maybe the other area is their physical well-being. Now, besides the health, because some of them will deteriorate to a place where they might need being cleaned up and stuff like that. It has to be gracious. It has to be gracious. Those people have spent their lives taking care of others. It is not asking too much for you to take care of them.
Awesome.
Yes.
And now from an individual to a family, you know, like sasa, kuna those who are the primary caregivers, now kuna wenye wameenda kusaka, they have their own lives out there, but they still, this person is their family member.
I think I would want to put myself primarily to the nuclear family.
Okay.
This is your father.
Yes.
This is your mother who is elderly. What are you doing?
Yes.
And at a bare minimum, ensure your parents have a comfortable life.
Okay.
Bare minimum.
Okay.
They spent time taking care of you.
Yeah.
And even if they did not, they did the one thing nobody else would do. They gave birth to you.
That should be enough.
That is enough.
Yes.
Actually, what makes them parents is that they gave birth to you,
Yeah.
not that they raised you up. Okay?
Yeah.
Because some people will say they never took care of me. So, be very careful to ensure that your parents are comfortable. And when people are old, comfort reduces to very few things. Food, clothing, shelter, medical care. Simple. It reduces to that. Make sure they have food, and that's very, very, very important, because that is the biggest failure.
Yes.
Most of the people I've interacted with, the biggest failure is in terms of food. When the parents can go for days without proper food.
Days.
Without proper food.
Yeah.
And especially those who have parents in the farms, in the village. I want you to remember, if your parents is now like my father, they're in their 80s, they no longer can take care of cattle. So the milk that used to be there is no longer there. They might not be able to take care of chicken. So what used to be there is no longer there. The basics that they would have easily gotten are not there. So figure out a way of making sure they are comfortable. Food. Food, very important. Shelter. I don't know what nice word to use, because there is no nice word for someone who lives in a very good house in town and the parents are living in deplorable conditions in the village.
Yeah.
Maybe those are the kind of people I like saying in Swahili, radi yenye itawachapa bado inafanya press up. Shelter. Make sure they are comfortable. Make sure they are comfortable. Then clothing. If your mother and your father are going to step out for an occasion, make sure they are looking well.
Presentable.
And not only that, even while they are still at home, make sure they have nice clothes to put on. And don't have your mother looking like she's come from another planet. So those very basic things. And now, and medical care.
Okay.
So in Kenya, make sure the NHIF is paid. I would also propose that in your neighborhood, if there is a medic, be in very good terms with them. Have them check out on your parents once in a while. Yes.
And what about the visitings? Because there are those who will take care of all of that when they are they are far away. Like anakuja tu December, you know, ndio atakuja kuwa na mzazi.
I need to say here that the fellowship, if I would call it that, is more important than the money. create time to go to your parents. There was a very sad story a few weeks or a few months ago of this guy who is a pirate and used to send money to the mother. Sent money and the mother died. He didn't know. Nobody knew. It was discovered 9 months later. The mother died in the house. The guy, they had a check-off system there, so the money he was sending to the mother was coming to the account, which tells you they were not talking.
Yeah. A whole 9 months.
And nobody was visiting the woman died and stayed dead in the house for 9 months. And it was in Kenya.
And you're already haijafanya press up.
So we need to know that checking on them. Yeah. Thank God for phones. They've made life easier. Yeah. Keep checking on them. That's number one, very, very important. And in a family, you will find there is 1 or 2 people who are more concerned than the others. If you are the one who feels like checking on your parents continually, wacha na hao wengine. Do your part. Yeah. Do your part. But let me say, the fellowship is more important. So depending with the distance and your schedules, make it regular, as regular as you can. We might not put on timelines, but make it regular. Yes.
Because I have engaged them, I've talked, interacted with some of them. Now, a day, maybe there's that child who calls in a regular basis.
Yes.
But if they miss out, you find even this mother is angry. Like, mbona nipigi? Kweni ameacha kunipenda, like the way you are. They are very much irritable.
Yes.
You know, ameacha kweni leo, amenichukia. And you're like, ni leo tu hajapiga, you know. It's just for today who anapiga. So I think whatever you're saying is very crucial.
Yes.
Awesome. So we want to take a very short break. But when we come back, we said those 5 areas. I had not mentioned the church as well. Yes. Has a part to play. So there is you, the individual. There is you, the family. There is the society. There is the church. And now there is the nation. We've been having issues with Mau for the longest time. Hadi sisi tunashanga. What is happening? So we want to talk on that when we come back. Stay tuned. Remember, this is Nuri Asubuhi. Connect with us via our Facebook page, Mizpah TV Kenya, YouTube as well, Mizpah TV Kenya, and also on the SMS line. What are your views? Would love to hear from them. We'll be back after this.